Right, good evening, friends. How are we this evening? Just fine? Sorry, I've not heard. Very fine. What else can we say about this evening? Pleasant evening. Okay, weather is nice outside today? Okay, yeah. For Delhi people, definitely. We always look for this kind of a weather. Thanks, Sangeeta ma'am, for your short and nice introduction. And believe me, most of the things that she has mentioned in that address, half of the things are not done by me, but it is done by the people, by the team that all of us are part of. Okay. Thank you to Mr. Bansal and this institute for giving me this opportunity to be here with this set of bright people. And at the outset, let me first congratulate you for your success in getting admission over here. And as I know, I've been following this institute for many years now. In the last few years, it has really created a niche for itself. And I believe this institute is really come a long way, and it is churning out good quality students from here. And I hope all of us, as part of the guest lecture who are coming here in last few days, or maybe in next 2 years of your journey, some of us will meet again when you pass out after 2 years of your studies over here. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, great. I wasn't too sure of what is that I should speak in such occasion, all right, and I think the size of this auditorium is also getting less. We have a really good number of people sitting over here. But I thought rather than talking something which is purely from theoretical perspective or purely from from the operational or from the corporate perspective, I've just put few slides together, and I'll be depending less on the slides but more on the examples, and I'll also try to involve you people in some kind of a question answer and some kind of interaction, so that my idea would be to give you a practical aspect when the rubber hits the road, when you hit the reality as the corporate after 2 years of your job, or 2 years of your studies, right? What is that you should expect, and what happens then, all right? So I'm not here to scare you, but I'm just here to share some perspective. And myself also, about 23 years back, when I was also in a similar situation, exactly around the same time when I was ready to get into the management institute at that point of time, believe me, I was totally clueless. I didn't know where I'm heading for. I didn't know what is that I'll do. I didn't know ABCD for HR. Somebody said, and I really thank that person, my uncle, somebody said, just stick on the HR and you'll get admission over there. And rest is the history. But in today's generation, people like you are very familiar. People like you are well informed, and that's where the solid base is. You are starting off, and hence I'm 100% sure. Year after year, when we visit various campuses, when we meet different people, we always see that year after year, the quality of the people, the quality of the input and the knowledge and the experience that they share in the campus is really going high. And I'm sure that each one of you would really make a difference to everybody around you, your family, your friends, your teachers, your professors over here. And once again, good luck. Feel free to stop me anywhere in case you think there is any question, you need any clarity. I think we have about half an hour, 45 minutes time, okay? And but still, at the end of this session, if we feel the need for more question answers, feel free. I'll be happy to take any questions on anything either related with this topic or anything in the corporate world. Okay. The topic that I've chosen is career management, but it is not that one of the session, it's not that you will be reading here in 2 years of your time, but it is more to do what are the few things, and I'll be touching, and in a different perspective, what are those few key things that you should be aware of, that you should be careful of. And now that you are at the starting point of your management studies, it's a good idea that you should keep those things in mind, and hence you need to prepare yourself, and hence you need to build yourself for a very successful and rewarding career. 2 years down the line, right? Is that all of us really expect for, and that's the reason you are here? Yes. Great. So I joined recently the Oberoi Group. Oberoi Group is into hotels, into resorts, into various other businesses. But I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not here for pre-placement talk. All right. And let me come to the point straight away. Do you agree with this statement? Life is full of choices. Do you agree with this? Yes. Why do you agree? Why do you say so? Why do we say life is full of choices? Anybody? I said I want this session to be interactive. Or do you want it to be just one way? 2 ways. Great. Anybody who agrees with this statement, why do we say life is full of choices? Yes. Okay, so different career options. All right? Okay. Anything else?
Life is full of choices because even from the simplest thing,
thank you,
about which bottle of water do I want to drink water from or what do I want to wear today, everything is about the choices we make. Even the simplest one.
Very good. Very simple answer, but it conveys the meaning, right? Both answers conveys the meaning. So today we are sitting at a time when we have got plenty of choices, all right? Where we were born, who were our parents, of course we didn't have the choice, all right? But now that at this stage in your life, we have all the choices. You had a choice to pick up a subject after class 12. You had a choice to pick up a college of your choice. You had a choice to pick up a management institute of your choice. And I'm glad that you have made a decision to be here, right? You have a choice going forward to pick up the area of your interest in management studies, right? You have a choice to think of your life partner. You have a choice to look for the career or the kind of company or industry. And hence, this is the time that we need to make full use of it, all right? But the life is also not that easy. Life is also full of challenges. Although it gives us choices, but it's also full of challenges. And hence, any one of us who is not really focused, any one of us who really doesn't understand what is that we want from this life, will find it difficult to manage it later on, all right? Life will still continue. Life will still go on. Some of us are, all of us are happy, but some of us are more happy than others. It's because that we really approach our life in a manner that is required. Tell me, you would like to join an organization, all right? Which kind of organization you like to join in? Maybe an organization which really focuses on its strategy to position itself in the market, to find out or to drive value out of its product and services. That's what organizations do, all right? So that they stay competitive, so that they stay profitable. Similarly, we as an employee and you as a potential employee, you have to also make choices. What is that you need to do when you step into the corporate world so that your value is understood by your manager and by the organization, and hence you can also make profitable growth. So when I say profitable growth, it does not mean only related with salary, but it means anything and everything that means to you as far as your career is concerned. And hence, it's important that if the organization focuses so much on strategies, so much on its products, so much on its services, as an employee, we are also a product and I'm also a service provider to my employer. And hence, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that we need to consider, not in a literal sense. It's not that the life is ending after this, but this is a time, this is a moment that we need to take it. We need to, take it as a once in a lifetime opportunity and work totally towards it. And this opportunity is staring at us, right? 1st of July, when you begin your classes, that's the time that this opportunity will start knocking at the door. That's the time that each day, each session, each project, each class that you will be doing, you will be working towards something, you will be working towards meeting your objective. And what's that one big objective we have? Can anybody would like to share? What is that one big objective you have? Sorry? Happiness. Okay, so happiness. Fine. Anything else? Satisfaction. Success. Excellence. Growth. Recognition. Okay, all of you have worked in the organization? Right? Absolutely spot on. Okay? Some of us want to have a good life. Some of us wants to be a good human. Is that right? That could be my objective. Or else I want to earn lots of money. How many of you wants to earn a lot of money? And others, they don't want? I'll give you my bank account number once you get your first salary. Is that right? Okay. Some of us would also want to have a well-settled life. Okay. Or we also want to have a rewarding or enriching career. Or in a nutshell, if you really ask me, anybody or everybody would like to have all these components. Is that right? There's nothing on this slide which we really don't want. Okay. But there could be other objectives, right? Depending on individuals, there could be other objectives. And hence, as you are stepping into a very challenging phase of your career, all right, or your life, it's important that you should identify at this stage what is that one my big objective. Believe me, as you would have seen, getting 95% score in class 12 or getting 97% score in class 12 is not equal to getting admission into St. Stephen's of the world. Is that right? Okay? That's what the life is, right? Passing out from here is not equal to means necessarily a good career, right? It does not mean necessarily being a good human. There's a lot of things. The professors, the faculty here will do everything that they can do to inculcate those learning and those education. But everything depends on you as an individual, what is that you want to do. And that can only happen once you know what is that my one big objective that I want from here. So, coming back to the corporate world, what is that we expect from a professional? What is that a company expects from a professional? Any answer? Performance, dedication, ethics, to the part of solution, okay. Educate, return, flexibility, innovation. Okay, great. So the faculty here will have an easy time, right? You will not be required to explain all these meanings to that. Okay. So what you mentioned is absolutely right? But in addition to each one of these things, you see, after some time, each one of these things is a given thing. My performance, my contribution, my solution orientation, everything becomes a part of the or the given part of the process, right? But increasingly, the companies are realizing that in order to stay competitive, they need people who can take time out. They need people who can, who are willing to learn more. Most of the time, not all of us, but maybe some of us always think that my learning cycle is over. Whatever that I have studied here in college in management institute is sufficient, but that's not the case, right? That will only be the entry point. But the organization really look for those employees, for those professionals who are willing to take time out, who are willing to spend more time with their learning, and who take those additional extra steps to attain that knowledge, and hence they become increasingly valuable to their companies. Today is a very tough time, very competitive. Many of us, all of us are going through with the same set of studies, with the same set of faculty, but not necessarily each one of us will perform at the same level, at the same part, right? Normal principle. And hence, what is that value? What is that extra value that I'm bringing on the table? What is that extra piece I'm driving the organization? What is that extra mindset or the positive energy that I'm spreading across will keep me different from the rest of the people? More and more organizations, and believe me, by virtue of the fact that I passed out 21 years back the management studies, having worked in a few of the India's top companies, these are the few differentiators that I'm trying to share with you from my personal experience, and from time to time I'll also give you a few examples that really makes the difference. When we think of the career management, what comes to our mind? Sorry, I have been asking too many questions to you. So when you say career management, what it means? A plan, okay? Goal, ambition, to set goal and the path to acquire that goal. Very well said. What else? Shaping of your career. Okay. So if in a nutshell we put all of this together, it means it is a process of assessing where you are in your work, right? Whether it is a current work or whatever you can think in terms of the context, where you are in your work and deciding where you want to be, and then doing something or making those changes to get there is a nutshell, is end-to-end is called as a career management, right? On slides, on a piece of paper, it looks very easy. I mean, these are sentences, words which are easy to understand, but when it comes to implementation, it looks very difficult. Alright? It's very difficult to accept the fact that I really don't know everything. It's very difficult to accept the fact that there's nothing that I really don't know. And hence, it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of efforts to move in this direction. First, to assess where am I in my current situation, what is that I want to do, and what is that I will do in order to reach there. When you put these three building blocks together, that will define what is that you want to do in your career management. And how we can reach to that, or how can we manage this career management, my next few slides would be on that. Any questions so far? No? Not much of a gyan, easily understandable? Great. It's a continuous process. The control is in your hand. Alright? Of course, there would be your manager, there would be your bosses, there would be shareholders, there would be your colleagues, your peers, subordinates, everybody. Alright? Each one of them has a role to play when it comes to, or maybe your family, your friends, each one of them has a role to play. But the locus control is actually in your hand. Let's understand from last few years to current where we are moving when we talk about the shift in the career management. Alright? There was a time when to me it seemed like until unless I'm moving up in the organization, okay, I joined as an executive, become assistant manager, senior manager, DGM, GM, AVP, VP, a typical hierarchy level that any organization has it, alright. To many of us in the past, that used to be a simple and by far the most understandable piece of the career management. But today, it's not the case, alright. I can move up and down, I can move horizontal, sideways also. And most of the time, even that is also a career management. More and more organizations are flat in their hierarchy. More and more organizations have less opportunities at the top. And even if I am moving sideways, even if I am adding more work, being on the same title or designation, in today's time, it also means a career management. There was a time earlier when I thought my boss has all the answers. If I am stuck, my boss is here, he will provide me the solution, right? But no longer. Please treat that your boss does not exist. Your boss only exists for approvals, alright? Please treat he doesn't know anything. Please don't say this to him, but please treat in your mind that he doesn't know anything, alright? Because it's your own team members, it's your own subordinates and your own peers who have to find out the solution. Somebody said earlier to one question that we need to be part of the solution, alright? It's me as an individual employee who has to find out the solution. Gone are the days when my boss was the person who will provide me the solution. Yes, today also my boss will provide me the solution, but first I have to make effort. First I have to convince him that look, I have tried my best and I'm not reaching anywhere, alright, and now I am finally coming to you. Now that's what the career enhancement to me as a professional means to me. Because if I'm convinced my team member, my colleague, my subordinate has really put in a lot of effort, and then only he's coming to me, that shows the positive determination rather than just throwing up the arms. The longer I stay in the company, the more I'll get rewarded. Alright? So you have people who have virtually spent their whole life, 30 years, 40 years in a company, which is a good thing. Nothing bad about it. Alright? But this not necessarily true that in today's time, the longer I stay, that does not mean that I change my job every year. That does not mean that I change my job every 2 years or 3 years. It simply means that the perspective is shifting, that more I contribute to the organization, the more I will be successful, the more I'll grow. Alright? It's not the tenure, it's not the number of years in the organization. I may be 10 years old in the organization, I may be 7 years old in the organization, but not necessarily I may be better than a person who's only 2 years or 3 years. It's the contribution, it's the value that I'm driving in the value chain or in the organization that really matters. As a good employee, as a good son, daughter, as a good husband, wife, I'll continue with my life even if it is boring. All right. So in office scenario, in the corporate scenario, since I don't have an option, I want to continue to work in this company, in this industry. I'll continue to work even if it's boring. No longer this true. Even if it is boring, I'll have to figure out the ways and means to look for the positives in that job. All right. As long as I'm decided to stay put here, as long as it's my decision to be associated with this company, as long as it's my decision to be associated with this project, I will not blame anybody. All right. It's very easy to say, "Bahar job nahi hai, naukri nahi hai, kahan jayenge, अच्छे पैसे मिल रहे हैं, everything is fine." But that's my decision. All right. And as long as it's my decision, it's my responsibility to find out how I can make best use of it. My promotions and title matter most. Surely it matters, but the key word here is most, right? Not necessarily that my promotions and title matters here most, but how do I contribute? Again, is related to the previous 2 points. How do I contribute to the organization? That really matters most. I may be manager for next 4 years, but what is that, how I have seen in the hierarchy and what is that I'm contributing is really matters. So, my dear friends, the point I'm trying to say here is these are the key shifts that is happening in the last few years, and hence, as a budding professionals, and 2 years down the line, you will be one of us. All right, we need to be mindful of these small things, and the 2 years that you are spending time over here, please work keeping these points in mind. It's important to know yourself, and at this stage, I want to talk a little bit more about these 3 points: interest. Business interest, not only interest. I'm not talking here about the personal interest or the hobbies, but the business interest, work values, and skills. Again, I want to differentiate values from the work values. All right. So values could be honesty and integrity, which in any case is also true for the work values, but the work values is little different over here. And what is that skill I have? We need to ask questions to ourselves. We need to ask questions to our friends, to our teachers, to our friends. What is that special about me? What is that excites me? What is that gives me a sense of fulfillment? What is that I do when I see trouble coming? What aspects of me is more successful? What are the things that I need to improve upon? It's a simple feedback process. You need to know yourself, and you need to ask your friends, your professors, your colleagues. Continuously, you need to seek that feedback. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Believe me, I've seen again that when the placement time comes, when the interview time comes, these questions are often asked, right? We start working on those questions, we start putting on the piece of paper, and without naming many institutes, and I've seen in many institutes, if you look at 10 CVs put together, the 80% of the content, other than the summer training, the 80% of the name and college, etc., the 80% of the content looks to the same. All right, in terms of the strength, weakness, in terms of my hobbies, because that is the only time when we start thinking, that is the only time that we start working towards it. All right, small things, but it's important that at any stage, at every stage in your life, you should seek feedback. Whether or not you're a student, whether or not you're a professional, but it's good to seek that feedback, which will help you to know to these 3 things better. All right, and then from these responses, you can really figure out the common theme. You can really figure out what are the common thread that binds you together as an individual, as a professional, which will really help you to understand better. So each of these 3 things, one by one: business interest. This is a simple example, may not necessarily be relevant to you, but you need to understand whether you are a personality. And here I am getting into a little bit more nitty-gritty, because to me, the interest, the work values, and the skill is very important when I want to know about my strength, and I want to know what is that I want to do in my life. kind of work which requires some kind of expertise, whether it is computers, whether it is accounting, whether it is creative, advertising, or is that kind of work which really suits me? Is that my strength area? It is something that I really feel happy working with people, whether it is sales, whether it is HR, whether it is training. Not that in any other job you don't need to work with people, but these are the jobs where you need to work more with the people. You need to understand, right, whether you feel more happy when you are in a assignment which gives you more control, more authority, more hold of the information, and hence those financial models or the business strategy or that MIS kind of a profile. This is what the business interest. I've just allowed a few examples over here. You need to ask question to yourself, what is that interest area, right? Most of the time, we get confined only to the labels that we hear in the management institute, which is marketing, which is HR, which is operation, which is system, which is finance, and so on and so forth. All right. But I think in each of those areas, you can go beyond that, and you can really make some meaningful understanding of what is that business interest area. Because then only you can start building on your interest area and start working towards that. Clarify your work values. What are the work values? Okay. Any answer? What are the work values? What do you mean by work values? How? How you do your work. How do you work? Okay. How do you reach your goals? Okay. The decorum that the profession requires, the teamwork. All right. Good. Interpersonal skills. Planning, respect to your colleagues, okay. Clarity of your work. Clarity of the work. You said something? Output. First word you used? Polished output. Okay. Qualitative output, alright. Okay. Ethical approach. Alright. Now, you are again right when we talk about the work values, alright? So each one of us have got certain set of values, which is our own values. Each individual has got own values, right? Honesty could be one value which could be common to all of us. But other than honesty or integrity, there could be certain other values which could be different to some of us, alright? But in addition to those values, there are certain work values which drives us, alright? These are those significant things at the workplace which stimulates, which rewards me for a better performance at the workplace. What is that happens at the workplace which will stimulate me, which will motivate me, which will push me to perform better? Okay? All of us, again, think of it, right? Whether it is your studies, whether it is your games that you play, whether it is the career, and some of you may have already worked in the organization before. What is that which drives us at the workplace? It's right. It's the job is fine. I'll get into the job, but beyond that, I need to be happy and I need to be content. What is that will drive that contentment? Okay. Few things. Is it the money? Right. I'm working for money. I'm working for handsome salary. I want to live a cool, easy, good life, and hence is the money is the driving factor. Is the intellectual stimulation is the driving factor? Am I looking for a job? Am I looking for an assignment where my intellectual wisdom or intellectual piece is continuously being challenged? Or am I looking for a job which will give me salary in 5 figures or 6 figures or whatnot? Is it something which helps me to rise the career path very fast, right? Every year I'm on a fast track mode, and from assistant manager to GM, I just reach in 5 years or 7 years. Is it that kind of a company, that kind of a job which will give me satisfaction? Is it a job where I'm part of a group, I'm part of a team, and as a collective, not individual, as a collective, I'm participating in the success story, right? I'm going along with a set of people, and hence that gives me a satisfaction. Or is it a job which gives me a work-life balance? I don't care about money, I don't care about my designation, but as long as I get work-life balance with a decent salary, with a sufficient promotion opportunities, with a decent job, I'll be happy, right? These are the work values, some of the common work values, right? This is not an exhaustive list. This is not out of any research work, but these are the certain common perceptions that each one of us carry while at work. it's important for you to identify what is that which is driving you, all right? Most of us at the time of campus hiring, and pardon me for saying that, always are driven by the salary part of it, all right? The pressure that we have, the peer pressure that we have, the family pressure that we have, right? We always compare job A with the job B, whether it is a 10 lakh salary or 8 lakh salary or 20 lakh salary, all right? But I think it's important that somewhere in the back of your mind, of course, first job is very difficult to get by, all right, especially if the time is going back. But still, it's important at the back of your mind that you need to be careful what is that which drives you, right? You need not have the answer now, but during your 2 years of studies over here, it will be good if you can just keep this. So that was the business interest earlier. This is the work values. And now coming to the skills. Okay. Various jobs require various kind of skills. Now, whether it is analytical skill, and these are the few common terminologies, whether it is a leadership skills, whether it is a team building skill, whether it is any artistic abilities, whether it is helping others, you need to be again mindful of the fact what is that you have in you, all right? Which is, maybe you may have each one of these components, but what is that which strongly you possess? And that is something will give you clarity from business interest to the work values to the skill categories that will help you to define what is that your career assessment here is. Okay. Please ensure besides the skills that you have, right, it's also important to be aware of the fact that there are certain skills which are common to all. There are certain skills which are transferable. Whether you work in organization A or B or C, whether you work on assignment X, Y, Z, there are certain skills which are common. All right, a few examples are there. This is not an exhaustive list again, but a few examples. You need to be very, very sure that you possess during your 2 years of your studies here. You also possess these skills, which will also help you to grow further. Hence, when we put it together in terms of skill fit, in terms of value fit, in terms of business interest fit, all right, that's the stage at the end of your studies when you reach and you are in a better position to decide what is that you want. Okay. Now, I know there could be few questions in your mind from here, and I'll just take those questions to the next slide. But it's very important that we need to assess ourselves as an individual in terms of using these tools. Where do we fit? And hence, we need to look for that organization, we need to look for that company which provides us the opportunities where my own business interests, my own work values, and my own skills fitment happens. Okay. That was, in short, I thought I will like to share with you in terms of when you finish your studies from here and when you reach out to the corporates for a good and enriching and rewarding career, how do you really prepare yourself? This is not one thing and all. I mean, there are many other things which will help you, but in the short time that I had today, I thought I'll use it. Of course, few disclaimers, all right? And I don't know whether you would ask me all these questions or not, but I thought it's important to put it over here. It's very easy to stand up here and say that you should look this and this is what you should have and these are the skills and these are the values, this is knowledge or this is something. But yes, again, when the D-Day comes, if it is a bad year for the country, if it is a bad year for the economy, all right, the campus placement is not happening, where does all those values, what will all those values do, all right? I wanted to go for company A, that company A is not coming to the campus, what do I do? Right? Do I have a choice in my first job? Most of the time the rules of the institutes are that whatever the first opportunity that I get, I'll have to accept it or else I'm out of the campus recruitment, and hence do I have my choices in the first job. If I leave that choice, I'm not too sure which are the other companies that will come. Now these are the realities which may not be prevalent over here, but then it's important that when we are preparing ourselves, we should prepare ourselves with a difficult or the worst situation in mind, right? That is also a kind of a positivity, all right? These are the challenges that we should be aware of. As I already mentioned, we have a tendency to compare the jobs on the salaries, 10 lakhs job versus 20 lakhs job versus 30 lakhs job, without getting into the other aspects of the career. There's always a family and peer pressure. All right, it's already 1 month that we have finished the exam, and it's already the campus started in the month of November, December, and today we are sitting in the month of March and April, and what is happening? Fierce competition outside. We have lots of good institute and not so good institute. Fortunately, you are sitting in the first category of the institute, right? But then market outside has abundance competition. I certainly had this confusion and I lack clarity that I mentioned in the beginning, and maybe you may not be having it, but at times we find ourselves in terms of what is right and what is wrong. In that situation, it's always good to ask questions. Ask questions to your faculty, your professors, your management team over here, or any of your corporate colleague, anyone you can come across, or anybody who can really guide and help you in this regard. I think with this, I have come to the end of my session, which I thought I'll share very briefly what it means in terms of the choices that you are making, what it means when you have to prepare yourself for a good career in the organization, and few tips that you can use if you wish so to work towards that. With this, I've come to the end, and any questions, I'll be happy to take that. Yeah.
So how can we compare a good placement to the bad placement?
So first question here is, what is a good placement and what is a bad placement? It's a very relative term. Okay, so if I'm getting a job, that's a good placement for me. If my friend has not got a job, that's a bad placement for him, right? So it's actually a relative. So it's the media which creates that perception. It's the people around that creates a perception. So to me, as a professional, there's nothing called as a good and bad. It's similar to when I'm inside the organization, whether I'm a good employee, whether I get best of the performance rating or do I get the least of the performance rating, again, it's a relative. Okay, and hence you have to strive to be better than the next person on the right or the left side of your sitting. You have to try to be better than him. All right, good or bad, there are certain things which are not under your control. How the Indian or the country economies is behaving, how the job market is emerging, what's happening to rupee value, or what's happening to the corporate world. Certain things are not in your hand. You have to just prepare yourself. So these 2 years are for you to prepare yourself. These 2 years are not for you to worry about whether in 2015 when you come out, whether that will be a good year or a bad year. But anyway, a short answer to your question is always a relative term.
So what are the other aspects to look over to a company when, as you said, that generally what we all do is we look according to the salary, that is offering something less and something high. So like, what are the other aspects to see what a company is good at other than salaries?
Okay, so as I said, first you need to understand yourself, what kind of job which will satisfy me. All right. So let's say if I decided to go for a marketing option in my management studies, now marketing also, or whether it's the sales or marketing, the common terminology that is used, has got a plenty of options that we have. So you need to first understand what kind of a job. Is it a field job? Is it a desk job? Is it an analytical job? Is it a creative job? Is it a simply sitting in the AC office environment and churning out few policies? Is that kind of a job that I really look forward to? Hence, that clarity is a must. All right. Now, having said this, let me also share with you, don't be rigid, right? Don't be fixed-minded. If I don't get A, I will not take B, C, D, right? Again, life is full of choices, right? If you're not taking that choice, someone else will go for that choice. So you have to be mindful of that fact. And the first slide that I show is true not only for you, it's true for everybody, all right? And hence you need to be flexible also, but you need to be clear, given a choice, what is that I would like to have it. And I think then you have to map the company. It's very important to understand the company. I don't want to get into the financial health or the typical parameters that we really look at it. In your first job, all right, please look for that company. To me, I mean, this is my personal opinion. Again, it's not part of any research work. It's not part of any textbook suggestion. To me, the first job should be that job where not only that I enjoy, right? But even if I'm not able to enjoy, even if I have to do the dirty jobs, right? Dirty job here does not mean dirty picture, but the dirty job here means something as a management students I'm not willing to do. Okay, so maybe at this stage, let me just share with you one example of mine also. I passed out from XLRI. All of us know about that institute. And my first job was in a company, and I straight away landed into being in HR. I landed as a staff welfare officer of that organization. Big organization with about 7,000 employees. Straight away, I was attached with the HR head of the organization as a management trainee, and my job was to sit in the union management discussion, negotiation, make a note of the minutes of the meeting, and work towards that, follow up with the various people on the various agenda points and work towards that. Believe me, and there was a time when came as part of the management, you are having a shoe on the one hand, and you're having a uniform on the other hand, and you're going through the shop floor, you're distributing and you're working, and you are asking for the samples, you're asking for what really works for the union people or the shop floor people or not. And it was a manufacturing setup. Believe me, coming from XLRI, I was really cursing myself. Why did I accept it? Right? I will not name that company, but I was cursing myself. Why did I accept that? But I spent 3 years over there. That was my choice that I spent 3 years over there. But when I moved to the next job, I realized the importance of that work. I realized how, as a HR person, I was in a very good position to understand the worker psyche. I was in a good position to understand what really works well for few people under circumstances. There was a time when the shop floor people would come and let's say उस time पे manufacturing company में तो चाय, नाश्ता, breakfast, lunch सब कुछ free होता था, right? They would come if they are not in a mood to work. चाय की टूटी वहाँ पे नलकी खोल देंगे, सारी चाय गिरा देंगे, and then they will demand चाय नहीं मिलेगी तो काम नहीं करेंगे. Now that kind of today's time you may not see that kind of a working scenario, all right? But I'm talking about 20 years back. Coming from XLRI, I was really not happy. But then later on I realized the kind of ground realities it helped me. And believe me, if today, if I feel or if others feel that I am effective or I am successful, these are those small activities that really help me. I am just taking my personal example. And as your first job, don't be bothered about what kind of job it is this. As long as you find happiness in that, as long as you find some learning, all right, don't think too much about the big brand or high brand or whether you will be really the strategic mover and shaker over there, right? Because it is where the learning is, and your subsequent job will give you all those opportunities. And hence, have I answered your question? Okay.
Often said that we should always look at the growth of opportunity. But how do we assess the growth opportunity at any job?
Okay, good question. And let me add another question. A few days back, I was in some other event, and I was this question. Somebody asked me, looking at my title, which was flashing on the screen as Executive Vice President HR. So the question to me was, sir, how do I become Executive Vice President HR few years down the line? All right, and I take your this question on the similar line. How do I identify the career growth and how do I reach where I want to reach? I think my answer, my personal view again here is, let's at this stage not bother about, in the initial few years of your career, let's not bother about the titles, the designation. It really doesn't matter, right? After XLRI, I was just the personal officer for 3 years. It didn't matter. I also reached to the EVP HR level, all right? And I worked with the great companies. But it's the work which you should be bothered about. It's the learning that you should be bothered about. All right. Surely the salary and everything matters. And I'm sure when you get into the good organization, all those things would be taken care of. In today's time, there's so much of focus on productivity. There's so much of focus on maintaining the cost. And believe me, if you are the person who's really working diligently, if you are the person who's really working, delivering, all right, the bonuses or the paychecks will always fall in the place. So titles and all should matter, but after some time. And my advice to young people like you and is that, and I do mentor a lot of people as my professional capacity, and simply that the career growth would automatically come, but initial few years just focus on the learning. Work closely with your managers. Don't worry too much about the small or big work. All right. The more dirtier work it is in the first 2 years of your life, to me, and since I've experienced that, will really help you to be more effective once you reach to a manager level. Thank you. Haji, you have a question.
What is the main criteria to choose specialization in management?
Okay. Good question again. So the question here is, what is the criteria basis which we should choose whether, and you can please sit down, we should choose which area and which subject. I think now, as I said in the beginning, in today's generation and you people are really well informed, all right? Whether it is internet or whether it is other sources of learning, we are well informed, and hence by now I'm assuming we should have some idea, clear idea about what is that area, and my 1 or 2 slides I showed over there, what kind of work really excites me. Okay, now if it is let's say I'm a person who is not an outgoing, if I'm a person who finds it difficult to walk up to someone and to initiate a conversation, surely sales is not the right kind of a job for me, right? But if I'm the person who feels comfortable, if I'm the person who relates well, if I'm the person who has a good listening capability, if I'm the person who can continue to listen to all shit for many hours, maybe the HR could be a good option. Okay? Jokes apart. Okay. And if finance is my 40, and if the subject that I've taken in my colleges relates to the finance or economics, then that is the stream. I think people around you can only guide, can only give you certain stimulators, but it's you who has to decide what is it. And please, for God's sake, again my suggestion, for God's sake, don't decide an area basis what is the salary it will fetch after 2 years. That is only a momentary. That is just a momentary. All right. All of us, not all of us, many of us have this perception. I choose option A, I'll get fat salary. I choose option B, I'll get this. All right. Don't ever do that mistake. I've seen many people really faltering in their life because 1, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, when they realize it's not cup of their tea, it's too late. It's very difficult to change your line, and then you fall flat. You will start zero in your new assignment, then, and all those 3, 4 years would go waste. So hence, I think maybe this question can be answered more when you can sit one-on-one with anybody with whom you feel comfortable discussing this, and then we can drive more clarity from there. Thank you.
Our PhD degree helps us in our career.
PhD degree
In management will help in our career, or wide experience more help.
Sorry, I have not understood the question. So your PhD degree
or wide experience.
PhD. Okay. Or the work experience, which is more suitable for management. Neither of the two, to me, from my point of view. Okay. You see, I think when you are here, you have to start from a clean slate. Don't start, I mean, again, my personal view, don't start from any baggage. Don't think that this is good, this is bad, because you have seen somebody in your life who could be a role model, or you've seen somebody in your life who is close to you as a friend or as a family, who may be successful in assignment A or in a profession A, but not necessary that I'll be also successful. Okay, I have 2 daughters, and believe me, my older daughter is also getting into this phase. She's still doing engineering, and when she sees me as a HR, when she hears all these kind of stories around me, now she has also automatically made up her mind that she will also get into HR, because this is what Papa does, and this is how I am happy, and this is what good life here is. But that's not the case. I have to do a lot of de-selling. All right. The reason here is not that HR is bad, but she should not decide based on the fact that her father is an HR. That's the point I am trying to make. She can still go ahead with the HR. But I think any of those degrees doesn't matter. It only helps you to crystallize your thoughts. Such additional educations or the qualification only helps you to crystallize your thoughts. It only helps you to be first among equals. It only helps you to enhance your understanding, your articulation skills, your analytical skills, which should help you to be ahead in the learning curve. If that is not happening, none of those things would be of much use. Okay. Yeah.
What if our choice change down the lane working in that particular organization?
Sorry, please repeat.
Yeah, for example, if I work in one organization, what if my choice change after working 1 year in that particular organization? If I want to move in some other department, but there is no vacancy, so what should I do? What skills should I, get into that?
Sure. So let me restate this question. So let's say you are in sales and after 1 year you want to move to finance or HR. Is that what the question is? Yeah. From one line to another line. Okay. Again, as a professional, it's not a good idea if in a year's time you are forced to do that kind of a thinking. It's normally not a good idea. Not that one should not and one can avoid that. If you can avoid it, that's a good. But if it is a must, that's a different thing. But if in a year's time, if I'm forced to rethink on my strategies, on my course of specialization, it means something went wrong when I was really choosing for option A. But having said this, I think you have to sit with your mentor, you have to sit with the relevant person or people in that company, all right? Now, whether it is your current manager, whether it could be manager of a different function, whether it is your HR manager, whether it is your friend, you have to sit with somebody and you have to first think, if you want to go to, let's say, from sales to HR, I'm just taking for an example, you have to first understand what are the skills, what are the qualities that is required for a successful HR person, what kind of a job, what kind of a challenges. Is it that I'm moving away because certain challenges that I face in function A, all right, and I want to avoid, and hence it looks like the other people are good, they'll come at 9 and leave at 5, or they don't have to go in the sultry heat sun outside, that they have to sit in the office. Is it that you have to first understand what is that priority and what is forcing me to look for a change? Answer is it's difficult. It's not that easy. If you have to, especially if you come through a management training program, if you come through a kind of a young leadership program that the organization has, then it becomes little difficult. But is it not possible? It's possible. In my personal experience, I have also come across 1 or 2 people who have attempted. They may have slowed down in the beginning because they have to make a fresh beginning. They may have slowed down. But that doesn't matter. A few years down the line, if you have ability, if you have a skill, you have a right attitude, you can pull along well. So it's possible. But it's a little difficult.
Generally, every successful man has a chart. And here we are just as that. But why it always happens that during statement, the priorities went for work X person.
Okay, how many work X people are here in this room? About 15 of you. Okay, the question here is, why do the company give priority to the work experience versus freshers? I think we need to look at this question in a different perspective. It's not a company giving preference, it's what is the role, okay? If the role requires that a fresher can work on that role, surely company would not like to give higher salary to recruit a lateral hiring, all right, and obviously lateral hiring will come a higher designation, higher salary, common sense, all right. So if that job can be done by a fresher, I'm not going to pay extra to recruit a lateral hire for that job, all right. But if it is that role which is not a fresher's role, which is there up in the hierarchy, from where the person with work experience can add the value, I will like to surely explore that possibility, because if I'm willing to pay 10 lakhs extra or 20 lakhs extra for a lateral hire, and if that role requires that kind of experience, is that the case? So it's not that the company prefers X to Y, it's the role what is there in the job. No company will spend extra few lakhs to hire experienced people, and no company will unnecessarily place a fresher into a role which requires experienced people. So it's a role specific.
Who are coming from different backgrounds, question is like, when we are there for the placement, so if there is someone who's asking, why are you shifting from this field towards a management role? Why did you took this option to be a manager? What would be a prescribed answer, because you have such experience of yours? So what would be an answer to this question, sir?
I think if I'll answer this question, Mr. Bansal will not give me another opportunity to come during this 2 years time. But anyway, jokes apart, so his question here is, if I've already worked as a professional, as an engineer or any other professional in the past, so if in my final placement the question is asked why you have changed the line and why you want to come to the sales or the finance or operations or any functions, what is the right answer for that? All right. Again, if I am a recruiter, to me there is nothing called as a right or wrong answer. All right. Right or wrong answers are only those answers. If I ask you what is 4 plus 4 and you say it is not 8, it is 6, right? That is only a right or wrong answer. Believe me, as a recruiter, we'll look for different characteristics, we'll look for different parameters, all right? Again, depending upon the culture in the organization, depending upon the role requirement, which are those parameters, it's very difficult to express in this 5 minutes of interaction. But short answer to this question here is, you should have an ability to think of an answer where you can relate your past experience to the role which is being offered by this new organization, right? Now, whether it's a sales or HR or finance, if you can correlate your experience from the past, the learning that you have picked up in these 2 years, and how you can add value to that role, provided you know which is that role against which you are being interviewed. If you can build up a good success story, that will really help you.